You've probably felt it already. Conversations feel heavier. People argue faster. Empathy feels rarer. More people twist words, drain energy, and turn every situation back toward themselves. Toxic behavior doesn't feel like the exception anymore. It feels normal. And no, you're not imagining it. Society really is producing more toxic personalities than ever before, and there are clear reasons why. It begins with emotional numbness. Modern life is loud, fast, and constantly demanding attention. People are overwhelmed by information, pressure, and comparison. Very few are taught how to sit with discomfort or process difficult emotions. Instead of slowing down and reflecting, many choose the quickest escape: avoidance, denial, or blaming others. Over time, those shortcuts harden into habits. And when people avoid their own pain long enough, they lose awareness of the pain they cause. That's where toxic behavior quietly takes root. Another major factor is instant gratification. Everything today is built for speed. Messages, entertainment, validation, all available instantly. But when speed combines with entitlement, something dangerous forms. People start believing they deserve results without effort, attention without responsibility, and respect without accountability. Toxic behavior thrives in this environment because manipulation works faster than growth. Taking is easier than earning. And selfishness starts to feel justified instead of shameful. One of the most damaging shifts, though, is emotional illiteracy. Many people know how to argue, but not how to reflect. They can express opinions, but not feelings. They know how to criticize, but not how to take responsibility. Without emotional language, people fall into survival mode, and survival mode often looks aggressive, defensive, or controlling. Toxic people aren't usually born that way. Many are emotionally underdeveloped adults who learned control instead of connection because no one taught them anything better, and society keeps rewarding it. Social media amplifies the loudest voices, not the wisest ones. Conflict spreads faster than calm, drama generates clicks, outrage generates engagement, and insecurity keeps people scrolling. Narcissistic behavior is normalized. Selfishness is branded as confidence. The more extreme someone is, the more attention they receive, and every time bad behavior is rewarded, the lesson is reinforced. This works. Underneath all of this lies something deeper: disconnection from self. When people don't know who they are, they search for identity through power, dominance, or superiority. When they don't feel grounded, they look for someone to blame. And when they're afraid to face their weaknesses, they attack the weaknesses of others instead. Tearing people down becomes a distraction from the emptiness they refuse to confront. This is why the world feels so fragile now. People are breaking faster. They're overwhelmed, insecure, and desperate for control. And when someone feels powerless inside, they often try to take power from others. Toxic behavior becomes a mask, something worn to hide vulnerability they don't know how to manage. That's why everyday interactions feel tense. You speak carefully, unsure if someone will respond with understanding or hostility. You set a boundary and it's treated like betrayal. You share an opinion and someone feels personally attacked. People aren't developing stronger identities. They're developing thinner skin. And thin skin combined with a fragile ego creates explosive reactions. So ordinary conversations turn into emotional battlegrounds. Words are twisted because insecurity demands defense. Blame replaces accountability because self-reflection feels threatening. Manipulation replaces honesty because vulnerability feels unsafe. Society didn't just create toxic people. It created an environment where toxicity feels like the safest response for those who feel threatened by life itself. The hardest truth is this: most toxic people don't know they're toxic. They believe they're protecting themselves. They think they're being honest, strong, or assertive. They confuse emotional dysfunction with confidence. They mistake control for power. And because there's little pressure to grow and little consequence for harm, the illusion continues. Another major reason toxicity spreads so easily today is the erosion of accountability. In the past, behavior had consequences. Communities pushed back, reputations mattered. Now, people can burn bridges and simply move on. New circles, new platforms, new identities. When bad behavior carries no cost, it multiplies. This also makes toxic people bolder. They criticize freely, but call you sensitive when you respond. They misuse psychological language to justify harmful behavior while condemning you for having boundaries. They exploit society's discomfort with emotional tension to avoid responsibility. And because surface-level identity is rewarded more than inner character, many people choose to perform confidence instead of building it. The result is a world filled with inflated egos protecting fragile inner lives. When ego grows faster than maturity, toxicity fills the gap. That's why arguing with toxic people feels impossible. They're not defending ideas, they're defending identity. They don't want truth, they want control. And the more fragile they feel inside, the more aggressive they become outside. But here's the truth that gives you power. The rise of toxic people doesn't make you weaker. It makes self-awareness more valuable than ever. The more chaotic society becomes, the more your calm stands out. The more manipulation becomes normal, the more clarity becomes protection. You don't need to fix toxic people. You don't need to change them. You only need to understand how they operate, so you stop carrying responsibility that was never yours. Toxic people thrive in confusion, but they crumble around clarity. And in a world that's losing emotional depth, your awareness isn't just useful, it's essential.